All right, everyone. What's going on? It's your Jersey boy, Omar Redamar, on another Training Tuesday. Today's going to be like the Awakening America Academy because we're going to have a powerful training by nonetheless one of the most amazing trainers and speakers, not just in our team and company, but honestly in the industry, one of the youngest entrepreneurs that I've met. She's amazing, but we're going to get there pretty soon. So tonight, we're going to have a power night. I highly suggest that if you haven't been here before, try to find where to get some notes because you're going to do a lot of writing. I know we're going to record this and all that, but it's always good to embed it. So this incredible young woman I admire so much. I have so much respect for her as a leader, as a mentor she is. We're always learning from her. She's a young retired entrepreneur, retired by 30, former anthropologist, former educator. Now she's traveling the world. Her and her husband have been like, they need a new passport because they can't fit any more stamps on it. So all of you, I want you to light up the screen and help me welcome all the way from sunny Florida, the trainer of the night, our incredible and amazing Cindy Salazar. What's up, Rockstar? How you doing tonight?
Omar, I have so much appreciation and love for you, man. You are such a rock star, more than me for sure. Thank you for holding down the fort, and thank you for that wonderful introduction, man. Seriously, I don't even need energy when it's Omar's here because he just transmits energy. He's like, have some energy, boom, 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 boom. But thank you so much. Yo, we just finished, we were actually just doing a social media workshop for the Spanish centennials and millennials, and it ran a little over time, but it was very, very interesting. And oh my goodness, so many good notes to talk about. So there's just so much to cover. And I know we've talked about social media quite a bit, and there's always something more because it's always evolving. There's always new strategies. There's always things to clarify. So tonight, I really do want to do a quick Q&A in case anyone has any specific questions about social media. I know I get a lot of questions about niching. I know I get a lot of questions about prospecting. We actually just covered like how to gain leads on social media, which I'm going to go into that for a bit and later on. But I know there's always a lot of questions as to like, how do you do this? If you have a specific question, please go ahead and write it down in the chat so we can address it. I mean, this is like a small workshop, like one-on-one. We can actually answer and dive in to any questions you may have, which is wonderful because usually these like workshops are given in like groups of 500. So it's very hard to be like, hey, I've been doing this, get one-on-one counseling or anything. So if you have any questions, please let me know. If you're trying to build, because I think most of us do hybrid business. So we do not just online. I mean, there are a few people who focus online. That's totally fine because it works. And I know there's people who still do it in person. So I do hybrid. I'm not going to stop. I'm not going to close my business just because I'm not on my phone. And I'm not going to close my business just because I'm out running errands. My business is always running. I'm always meeting people. I'm always talking to people. I make it a point to speak to people. Okay, that's how it works because this is a social business. So it's wonderful if we are social, not only in real life, but in social media. And let me clarify something. I am an introvert on so many levels. Okay, I am. And I've gotten more of an introvert as I've gotten older. I used to be a social butterfly. Something happens like in your early 30s that you're just like, you know what, I'm over this. But that doesn't mean that you cannot do network marketing, okay? Not at all. You just have to know when you need your like alone time. So if you're like me and you're like, you know what, Cindy, I'm not that social, like being on social media too much scares me, being social and out in the world scares me, it's like, okay, then set up times, okay, in which you have time just for yourself, because I know it can be overwhelming. So I know there's times during the day when I just put the phone aside, I am home or I'm in a quiet space and I kind of like reset. I take like a good 15 minutes to myself and just kind of like reset. So don't stress out about that part. I know I get a lot of questions about social media, like, Cindy, I'm a private person. Y'all, I am super private. People think they know me. They know like nothing, okay? So it's really funny because people then sometimes feel they have authority over your life. And personally find it kind of funny. People get offended. It is what it is. Okay. You just got to laugh at it. But just because you're a private person doesn't mean you cannot share on social media. So those are just common misconceptions I kind of want to like get through right now so that we can open up our minds about social media. Okay. All right. Any specific questions anyone has right now? You're good. We're just going to dive in. Okay.
I think we can cover a little bit if you like, since you mentioned it, niching, because I think there might be some misconceptions about it. Sometimes we think, I used to think like that, and maybe somebody else has that problem where we're trying to find people who have a certain ailment or specific stuff just to to market our products. But in reality, niching down is more than that. It has to do more with our personality and stuff like that. Can you kind of like touch on that a bit so we can have a more, amplified just a little bit?
Okay, yeah, for sure. And I think that's a great question. I think people get caught up and overthink what niching is. It's definitely not, let me go reach moms in California with red hair who have 3 children specifically, and one of their children has eczema. It's definitely not that. Niching down has more of, and it's wonderful. I think it's wonderful the evolution that has happened with niching, because it's more of, let me look for my tribe. Okay. It's more like, this is who I am, or this is the part of me that I am presenting to the internet. And I'm looking for like-minded people like myself. And that can look like, this is what I do on a daily basis. I put fitness into I'm working on my fitness. I'm in my 30s. I mainly cater to women in their late 20s, and 30s, because that's the group of women I speak to. And notice I keep saying women. I speak mainly to women, but a lot of men follow me as well because they like my messaging. My messaging is more about getting things done, motivation, getting on a fitness, like starting the fitness journey again, and people who are basically redoing their lives. Okay. That's more of like, you kind of get my humor. If you follow me on social media, you know what makes me laugh. And I know people know me. This is how I know the right people are following me, because they will send me reels, they will send me memes, and they will send me messages that they're like, hey, I know you're going to like this. And they'll send me like, hey, I follow you, and I think you should follow this other person because they remind me of you. That's how you know you're niching down. Okay. And I do get those messages on the daily. So it's really fun because that's how I have been following different influencers, some actual influencers. I'm not actually an influencer, obviously. I'm just a person presenting myself online, right? So niching has more to do with who are you and who you're trying to speak to. So literally before you post anything, before you think of doing a live, it's like, okay, who am I talking to right now? Who do I want to talk to? Who are the group of people that I want to work with? And I think that's beautiful because you're choosing who you want to work with, right? And it could look so many ways. One of the best ways to niche down, and I'm not telling you to do this, is creating controversy, actually. It's really funny because you will see these people on your explore page who are just going off on whether it be a health issue, a political issue. There's so many with politics, with what's another big topic that's going on right now? I can't remember. It was school education. I'm sorry. It has to do with education, about university education, and also what's it called? High school and all that good stuff, especially in Florida. There's so much controversy about that, right? It's booming. And there are people who are taking sides. And, sometimes you get mad at these people, how can you say that, blah, blah, blah. But, oh my God, they have their raving fans that are just supporting them. And what's their point? Some of them, okay, sure, to make a political point across, but really they're just creating a community of like-minded people. So the next time you see something controversial, and this is how I've grown as a person, is I don't get offended anymore. Instead of saying, oh my God, this person is awful, I'm like, wow, they have a great following, great influence. How have they done so? What has been their marketing tactic? because anybody can get online and speak stuff, and they will be gaining more influence than people like us who have more value to give. Okay. So think about that. Like, especially when people are going on rants, it's kind of wild to watch, but don't get emotionally involved in the rant unless you want to, if something you agree with. More of like, what is their marketing strategy? There is a political person, like candidate in Argentina, who I don't think he's a millennial, he's older, but he is the driving force in the next election. And I do not agree with with a lot of stuff of his, but I think he's pretty good at like the economics of the country. But that apart, he has subtly, like not even in the most obvious ways, in a very subtle way, created a marketing machine in which his campaign uploads pieces of his interviews and he's yelling in all of them, right? But you feel his passion. And then what happens? All these other people see it and they grab that material and then they'll repost it because they're like, oh my God, this guy's insane. And they keep reposting and reposting. So now he's everything I see on my Explore page. Okay. So now I know more about Argentine politics than American. So it's kind of crazy, right? And that's to make a point.
I want to cut you real quick because you mentioned something I want to touch on, and it's something that I started doing recently, like random videos. Has nothing to do with my business, nothing at all. So I did this video quite a few days ago, I would say maybe a week, and it has 197,000 views. What I'm talking about is a company that was going to do some human steak. It was actually a parody. It wasn't real. It hasn't happened yet. My God, they were tearing me up in the comments like, oh my God, you don't know what you're doing. Misinformation, you're misleading people. But I got 197,000 views on that. I've been blocked on Messenger twice from last week, and now I'm still waiting to get unblocked since I've prospected over 400 people just through that video that have nothing to do with the business. We have something alike. I'm like, hey, I'm fine. You're in so-and-so. Or actually, my wife and I are looking to expand there. I sent them the prospecting message. They're like, what does this have to do with your company? It has nothing to do, but we also have a business. So you don't need to talk about the business or even the product to even have conversations. I'm waiting to get, because I got slapped on the hand, I'm waiting to get out of Facebook jail and to continue on that. But it's a great point that you mentioned that, because looking for stuff that are controversial, you have to be mature enough though. You got to have your mindset has to be like really strong. You got to be unshakable, because people are like, they're trolls. People are mean. And if you're not well prepared, they're gonna get under your skin. So I just wanted to point that out because it's so true what you said.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that, because yes, look, social media is a mentality, and I'm going to give you my philosophy of it. A couple of years ago, I was in another state of mind, and a couple of comments and just things I would see online affected me so much that I removed all social media for 8 months. Didn't look at it, didn't interact. I removed it from my phone. I lived off the grid for 8 good months. The only reason I went back on is because at that moment I was emotionally better. Okay. I was emotionally better. And I felt like I needed to start launching my business online. It was when the pandemic started, I went back online. And it was a wild time to go back online because a lot of really crazy things started happening in the world. And I was like, wow, Cindy, you chose a great time to get online. It's probably when you should be off. But it was a good thing to be on there. Look, social media, people give it too much power. Okay. You have control of what you consume. You have control of how you interpret things. You can block. If some certain things you're seeing things you don't like, block them, remove them, okay, from your life, because you're not going to remove them from the internet. Okay. And people have all sorts of varying opinions, and some you will find offensive. And then you have to say, why am I finding this offensive? Maybe I just really don't agree with it. So I'm just going to not watch it because it's going to exist with or without me. Okay. I cannot go into the internet gods and tell them, please remove all of this type of content because it affects me. No, just like out in the world, you can't stop people from doing what they're going to do. Right. So if you decide on using social media, yes, there are risks, but most of them we can control ourselves in the sense of how we set up our mindset. Yes, people have been mean in comments, and I used to be really offended. Now I just laugh. Not let them be. If it's too mean, just remove them and block them. You'll never see me again, right? They'll never see me again. But it is a mentality. So if everything is going to affect you, I advise you not to use social media. Okay. If it's going to affect you personally, deeply to the point where you're going to have mental health problems, don't use it. If you feel like you have thick enough skin and you're like, you know what, it doesn't bother me much, or I'm not going to allow it to bother me that much, then, you can use these strategies, but you have control of what you consume. And that's what I keep telling a lot of people who are so offended. They'll get on comments in the comment section in different posts, and they'll just go off on other people. And I'm like, okay, you have a picture of a dog on your profile picture. Okay. Like, I can't even see your face, keyboard warrior. Okay. This is not the place to come and vent your frustration. Like, I'm going to say something pretty explicit, and I'm sorry, but you don't go and shit on people's pages just because you had a bad day. You don't go on the street and go and find a person and say, hey, I hate your shirt and you look awful. And you don't look like someone who works out and you're fat. It's like, no. So why would you do it on someone's Instagram page? So now if somebody comments something like that, I'm like, okay, I don't know you, person. You're having a bad day. I am not, I love myself, so I don't believe you, but I think it comes with the maturity of using social media.
And I think that sometimes when there's people like that, most of the time, at least for me, because I've been, attacked as well. People like atheists be jumping on my stuff and they be going at it. Most of the time, and no offense, but these people don't create anything. They don't even have videos on their profile. They have they sharing memes. They're not authentic. So most of the time it comes from somebody, and this is something that is true. You most of the time will be criticized by somebody who's doing less than you. And that goes to show that that's living proof. I've been seeing that all the time, but I've also have great comments. There's a lot of people that engage. They share your stuff. Rosana Holt gave me 300 stars the other day on one of my reels. So there's people who's going to also cheer on you, and they're going to, they're gonna be very supportive. So, and people you don't know. That video I was showing you, it has over 10,000 shares. So I was actually reaching out to. I have not reached out to the 10,000. I got blocked, but I started reaching out to everybody who was sharing it, because there has to be something in common for them to share it, and feeling the urge for people to know. So just in case anybody's taking notes, if people are sharing your content, you have 3/4 of the path already won. They already like you. You don't need to, work that hard. They already like you. So you have to just create that conversation and go figure out how you're gonna pop the question.
Right, exactly. For some reason, the internet is its own living space where people feel not just unhinged, but unhinged, but uninhibited. They say things they wouldn't say in real life. And it's usually just them mirroring whatever they have going on in their life. So don't take it seriously, okay? That being said, the internet is also a great, great place to meet people who are like-minded and to establish new friendships and to learn, if that is what you're going to do. You find what you're looking for. So sometimes when people complain about things they see online, I'm like, so why is that coming out on your explore page? Because the explore page only shows the things you've been looking for. So it poses more of a question on the person. I learned that one. And it was really funny. But yeah, so just notice that. The internet is a great place to build communities, for people not to feel alone. There are people during the pandemic who really couldn't leave their house because either a handicap or because they had, they had really deep immune system problems, and leaving the house would be horrible for them. And they lived alone. A lot of people nowadays live alone, and their only way to communicate with the world was through social media. I saw that actually a person who was going through that during the pandemic made that point when people are going off against social media. It's awful, it's evil, it's the work of the devil. They were like, you know what? For me, it was the only way to connect to the outside world. So for me, it's an incredibly valuable asset for me to connect with people, because there's no other way for me to connect. So you make of social media what you will and what you want to make of it. Okay. Now, let's go into certain strategies. Yeah. Any questions about that? Okay, great. Great. So don't be scared of getting like the mean comments. I used to be super scared, you know. Your job here on social media is to find your raving fans and find people who think like you, people who you connect with, because there are people all over the world who I can probably, if we ever met in person in a cafe, we'd hit it off. We'd be really good friends. And the shortcut to do that, if I'm not traveling or if I'm not living in Colorado or wherever, it's through social media. Okay. And the way you attract those people is, one, by your posts, and two, by actually actively going to look for them on social media. So we're going to speak about those two things. Okay. Mainly I'm going to speak tonight on how you go looking for people. Okay. So social media is like this one big, like I call it a funnel. There's like a whole bunch of people here on social media. The whole point is to get the attention of some of these people that are like-minded, bring them down into starting a conversation, starting a relationship with them, and eventually getting them into the business, or getting them into some sort of conversation about business. To me, then goes into tools, and then it goes into some sort of like event that I take them to, whether it be a one-on-one presentation, or it could be like a convention. It could be something where we're actually interacting off the grid, like offline. Okay, that's the ultimate goal, to be able to interact with these people offline. So social media for me is a place to grab people, to find people. Okay, it's like this giant funnel. Now, some of those people I already know, because we know each other in real life. Okay, so my conversations with them are already friendly. Okay, so it's just like the same. I have my hot prospect, my and then the warm, and then the cold prospect line. Okay. So the people I already know, like, oh, my neighbor, I already know them. They're on my social media. So with them, the conversation is a little easier. Okay. Now, that's one. The next step of people, it's like, oh, those friends that I like, I have some people I went to college with that I haven't spoken to in a whole bunch of years, right? But we're starting to reconnect. That's like my like lukewarm market. And then the cold, it's people I'm just barely meeting online, right? The whole point of this is to be able to start conversations with each of these people so that eventually I can ask the question. Think about it like this. You don't just go up to random people on the street and be like, hey, you want to know my business? Hey, I have something for you. Hey, stop, stranger, I need you. You don't do that. So that you wouldn't do that on social media. And I only say that because I know there are some people who are just like spam messages like, hey, please don't do this. Hey girl, I was looking at your profile and you look like such a hardworking girl who's into entrepreneurship. I've gotten these messages. And just by reading your vibe, I can totally tell we'd hit it off. And I have these great products that I would love for you to try. Now, we have free memberships this month. Stop. Please don't do that, right? I just think Spamela Anderson's, yes. Okay. And I've gotten so many of those messages and I'm like, please no. Okay. And we all learn. Betty's done that. I know we've all done that, even that at some point we've all been doing that. So it's okay. It's been probably what we knew back then, but now we know better, right? So the whole point is to start conversations with them to get to know the person. Okay. If it's someone I already know, then I always do posts that have to do either with like what I'm thinking. I do a lot of like my philosophy of the world and of life. And I've attracted a lot of women around my age who are also trying to like break out of their mold, who are facing tough decisions. Like seriously, like the people on my Instagram are women who are my age, who probably went through a divorce. And are like now single, or not that I'm getting divorced or anything. It's just like they're looking at life in a different way. And right now in my whole era of like opening up, and it's a whole thing, guys, it's a vibe. Social media is an energy. I'm attracting women who are like leaving their traditional jobs and going off to either do travel blogging or do digital marketing or something else different. So it's people who are kind of breaking the mold. It's people who are looking at other ways of looking at life. And I'm attracting a lot of people with that energy. So it's really nice. So the point is, if my neighbor sees my content and they interact, I'm like, hey, well, you already, like we're neighbors. Hey, why don't we have a cup of coffee tomorrow? And that's easier for me to like have an offline presentation with them. But people who, social media for me is mainly for people who are lukewarm, who haven't seen in a long time. So I would definitely start a conversation with a couple of people. Like I'll look through their stories, if they're posting stories or their posts, and I'll comment on their posts, or I'll look at their stories and I'll like them, and then I'll send them a message like, oh my God, your baby is super cute. I'm so happy for you. How's it going? And start a conversation with them and catch up with them, genuinely catch up with a person. Okay. See if there's still like friendship chemistry there. Like, oh, like, like we still, 13 years ago, we were really good friends. And then you're starting the vibe again. Eventually you can ask them the question, right? After a couple of things, the question will eventually come up anyway. They're going to be like, so what are you doing now? Oh, right now I'm working on social media. Like I'm a digital creator and I'm also an entrepreneur. I have my own business and I build teams, and those teams, like we build residual income, et cetera, et cetera. Like, oh, that's so interesting. Yeah, of course. It's always an option. I'm always looking for people. So I would love to talk to you about this one day if you're interested, and we'll have a conversation, but it's a gradual conversation we're having. And for the people who are cold, there are people who follow me based on reels or who follow me on, their explore page, whatever. Like when they come onto my page and they start following me or they interact with my stories, they'll send me a like, I'll reply, thank you so much. I really appreciate it, and I'll go to their pages and I'll look through their profile. If it's not public, then I'll follow, like I'll press a request button. But if it's public, I'll look through their posts and kind of get a vibe as to who this person is. And the best part is if they have stories, I'll interact with their stories. And I'll think of questions to ask them like, oh, I really like that, I don't know, that pie you made. Where did you get a recipe, or is it a family recipe? And start a conversation with the people, okay? There's really nice people out there who will start a conversation with you. And eventually, the skill you're going to learn is when you feel that the time is right to give the question. Mumble marketing to the warm market and continue the convo until they ask again. Very good point. So that is basically one of the ways to look for people. So I'm going to go into something very specific. It's called CPR. This is like the Spanish synonyms for this. Not synonyms. Acronym. Is it acronym? Acronym. So CPR. Do you know this one, Omar? I think you do. Which is, okay, so the first thing you do is commenting. Okay, so basically on social media, you have to do like, you have your DMO, you have a daily method of operation. And one of these on social media, you should have at least 3 things that you do, okay? You can do, there are so many different schools of thought on this. This is just one of many strategies. The first one is definitely look, you're gonna look for 3 people to whose profiles you will be commenting on, okay? The first is like your ideal client. Okay, so look for a person that you're looking for to attract. Like, what is the kind of person? This is like something you should do on your own, is think, who is my ideal client? Who is the person I'm trying to talk to? Okay, who am I trying to attract? And go look for some people like that. You can find them through hashtags. Okay, like I do a lot of women supporting women. So I'll click on that hashtag and I'll find like reels or like posts people have posted on that. Like, oh, we have a common interest. So let me look at this profile. Okay. That's one thing you can do, and go through their profile, go through the public profiles. If a lot of people have privates, but if they're showing up on your explore page, it's a public profile, and make sure you comment on a post of theirs. Okay. The second person is people who you have already talked to. Okay. So if you have people that you have sent like a link, how some people ask you for information, you send them links and then they ghost you, because they will. So I will go back to their pages and I will find, like, if they're posting in stories, they're the people I'm talking to. They're the people who I'm looking at their stories and finding something to comment on, because I go straight into their DMs. So it's like, ding, 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 Cindy's knocking, right? So I'm showing some sort of interest in them, right? So that's like a way of doing follow-ups, by the way. That's a good way of doing follow-ups. And then 3, this is like probably one of the best tips I've received, is look for an influencer that you look up to. Look for an influencer within your niche. Okay. So for me, the biggest influencers I follow are women, literally, I keep going to this again, women in their late 20s or 30s who are travel bloggers or who are doing digital marketing. Why? because they're independent women who are usually, like either single or they're just, in committed, like either the relationship status doesn't really matter, but I've noticed many of them are single. I should take note of that. And I don't know why. No, Elias is like, why? No, you know why? It's because I was single for a really long time. So I talk a lot about my single years. And when I finally chose to get married, it was for a very good reason. So I think that's why I attract those people. And because a lot of them are looking for love, and I show up my relationship a lot and I talk about relationship advice. That is why I attract these people. Okay. I know why. So no, he's getting mad at me right now. Now I forgot. Okay. So basically I will look to influencers who are like women who are either travel bloggers, digital marketers, or anything that they do jobs online and they travel, because that is what I do. That is what I want to continue doing. You will see that in my content, I am working and traveling. So they are like the people most like that are nearest to my niche. So I'll go on their blogs and I will comment. I posted a comment. Okay, I'm not on one of theirs. There was this TV show that I was like, they showed a clip of it. I was like, oh my God, he's my favorite actor. He's so great. I commented that. You know how many likes that comment has? 4,000. What the heck? 4,000 likes, and people commented on that. I'm like, I need to keep commenting on influencers and getting some more stuff. Like I got some actual follows and conversations from commenting on influencers pages, because I will like post a testimony. So I do a lot of strength training. If you follow me, you know I'm doing strength training. So there are like two influencers that I follow, and one of them is the girl whose workouts I do. And I every now and then I'll comment on her page. And I commented one time and I said, oh, you have no idea how much this has changed my body. I've loved your workouts and I've seriously shared it to so many friends. Thank you. She pinned it on her post. She pinned it. And so people go look on my profile and will follow me and will give likes to my reels, and I've started interactions because she pinned me on her comments. That's awesome. So a lot of people who follow her will see me and I will be exposed to them. But here's the thing. I'm looking for these people. I'm putting myself out there. I'm being social on social media. That is how you look for people. Go look for your people, or where it's either where your people, where are they hanging out? Where are these people hanging out? What pages are they following? Go to those pages and then actively go into these individuals, people's pages, and make sure you start interacting with them, whether it's through their stories or they did a post, you found it interesting, write something of value. Okay, write something of value. Hey, yes, I agree with you. I started doing that myself and it has made me stronger. It has, I don't know, for me, it's like, it's made my body stronger and I have less lower back pain. People will comment. I actually go, okay, sorry guys, I don't know if you're sensitive about this, but I follow this page for that talks a lot about women's periods, right? And sometimes they'll post things that I can really relate to. So I will comment on that and people will comment back and we start conversations. Okay. It's interesting how many people read the comments. I'm one of those people that goes in and reads comments. So sometimes I'll comment on comments. Okay. So yeah, JT's like, yeah, it's okay. You must be single. I'm just kidding. So I'm just kidding. Okay. So, but that's a big interest of mine. So when you're looking at influencers or when you're looking at people to follow, find people that you actually have a real interest in. Okay. It's just going to make the connection better. I'm not going to go look for people who are vegan. I like meat. I'll show pictures of brisket. We're not going to get along. Okay. So find people who are more in tune with what you're doing or what your philosophy of life is, etc. It doesn't really matter. Okay. Right. So that's a good way to reaching out. Number 2, so we're doing this PR. So that's commenting. That's 1. Okay. You can do that for 5 minutes a day. Number 2, your publication. So there's so many thoughts as to like, how often should I post, or how often should I post a story? Okay. There's no exact rule. People will tell you different things, but the main thing I'll tell you is what's the energy you have when you're doing a post. If you're just doing a post because crap, I haven't done one today and it's midnight and I'm tired, but I'm still going to do this dumb post because I have to build my business, it's not going to come off well. Okay. So, I mean, I know I've done it, and it's more the energy you have that you're going to show through that post. So okay, maybe I'm like artistic or something, which I've learned about myself. I'm in the self-discovery phase of my life, and that's the people I'm attracting. Okay. The self-discovery people. It's so cliche, but it's so my thing. Okay. Don't be afraid to be cringy. Okay. I am super cringy. I am posting things that 10 years ago, I would never have posted ever. Okay. And there are some people that still look at me and they're like, oh my God, how is she posting herself in like a bikini? How is she posting herself like in that? I don't know. I put a lot of cringy stuff, guys. And I can already hear like some people going, ugh, but I don't care. Okay. So it's a self-discovery thing. Okay. And it attracts the right people. So your publications, it really is more of your energy. So when I'm about to do a post, and I really get into the caption, why? Because I express myself better in writing. That's my forte. I'm a good writer, always been. Some of you are excellent writers. Some of you are better speakers. So maybe your reels, I use a lot of background music and I write on my reels, my captions deliver. Some of you are probably better in speaking. Omar is excellent at speaking. So his reels and TikToks are phenomenal, because he expresses himself so well with his words. That's his forte. Some of you, it might be something else, so whatever it is, put all your energy behind that. Okay. When I do my captions, I actually do them before I make the reel. So I really dive in to what I'm talking about. And I try to get to the point, like, what message do I want to give people? Today's post, what was today's post about? Can't remember. I have so many captions written that I don't remember what post I did today. Oh, okay. Today was interesting. Today was me showing like how I started in January 2023 with like the weights I was carrying, which I was holding a 10-pound weight and going like this, right? Today, I did an upper body workout, and I was doing 220. So 20 in each arm, doing chest presses on the floor. To me, that's huge. In 8 months, I've been able to double the amount that I carry. Like, I used to be able to lift a total of 5,000 pounds at the beginning of 2023. Now I'm lifting 11,000. To me, that is huge. Okay. To other people, they might not care, but there is a certain cohort of people online that are like, hey, I'm where you're at. I'm also beginning my journey of strength training or of getting fit. I'm also in my 30s. And, I get scared of starting because I don't know where to start. And I'm telling you, oh my God, me too. I didn't know where. This is the stuff I have learned. So if you're like me, maybe you can do a couple of these things and look at my progress, right? So in the caption, I really went deep into like how I felt about my journey. Like, I really went into the whole energy of, it really was just, it took how many, 34 years, but it was my decision. It was just that one decision to say, you know what, I'm going to do this. And then one decision daily of doing that afterwards, right? But I really went all out in how I felt about it in my caption. And if you read yesterday's, it was about choosing love or romanticizing your life. And that was like one of my favorite captions I've ever written. So if you really need like help in writing captions, you can go onto my Instagram. That part is my forte. My reels might not be as pretty as Omar's or Betty's, but the captions are pretty good. Okay. So yesterday's, I went into like how some people or some women, we're like ugly ducklings when we're little, but it's mainly based on like the society we grew up in. Maybe that little circle, that little shoebox you used to live in high school, just the societal standards were crappy. Then you step out into the world. Like me, I left my hometown, never gone back. And I stepped out into the world and I met so many different people and so many ideas of like value and beauty and intelligence that I finally found myself, And I told, like, it's kind of like a message of hope to people who feel like they're the wallflower. It's like, explore the world. You'll figure it out. You're probably just in the wrong place, So I really deliver in those messages. So it's more of the energy. So whenever you publish anything, what energy are you exuding in that caption? What energy are you giving it into your reel? Are you really feeling it? Because if you're not feeling it, it's better not to post. Wait till tomorrow. Okay? Just wait till tomorrow. and then post. Don't go a month without posting. Okay. You're going to have to eventually like get the feeling for it. So figure out what part do you like. I never thought I was creative. I'm really good at a lot of things. I didn't think I was that creative. There were people way more creative, but I have found that creative part of me and I've been able to use it to grow my business. And it's been a very beautiful journey. You see my self-discovery stuff. Okay. But it really is a good way for you to like develop different talents you may have hidden. Okay. So whenever you publish, you can publish once a day. I do that most of the time. If I'm not feeling it, I'll publish at least 4 times a week. Okay. At least. So make sure you publish at least 4 times a week. Okay. Just don't leave it alone. Don't do a post and then ghost for like a week or 2 and then try to put something else. That's called being inconsistent. All right. And try to post at the same time. I try to post around 3 o'clock Eastern time because that's when I've noticed the most interaction. Figure out what's the best time for you. Okay. Look at your insights. All right. And the third thing, and I think Omar once talked about this, it makes me laugh a lot because he's like, don't just post something and then drop the phone and run away. Okay. So whenever you do a post, like especially within the first half hour to an hour, try to have the phone near you. Sometimes you can't, but don't just run away. The way to get your reels or TikToks up and running or like viewed by more people is if somebody comments on your reel or TikTok or Facebook reel, whatever, comment back as soon as possible, at least within the first hour, because the algorithm, what it does is it gets your reel, it shows it to a couple of people, and if there's interaction and then you answer, it kind of pushes it up alone. Okay. And it keeps pushing it. The more interaction it has, the more it keeps pushing it up. That's why on your explore page, most of the things you'll see have a lot of interaction because the algorithm favors interaction. Okay. But it favors organic interaction. So not spam bots or any of that. Okay. So it's called CPR, comment, publish, and respond. Okay. Comment, publish, and respond. And make sure, okay, don't just comment on, do not post before going to sleep. Exactly. Don't do that. Okay. And, try, I know you can interact with whatever you want. I interact on like some personal interest pages. Like, well, I do read comics. I'm going to be real honest. I'm a real nerd about that. And I do watch certain TV shows. So I'll comment on there. I've made some friends on those like communities. It's the same like on Facebook when you go and join certain groups. Like I'm in the Pride and Prejudice group and we talk and I've made some friends there. That's not a bad way to meet people. You have common interests. You can become friends with that. I'm in like 2 book clubs. They're so much fun. There's so many weird books to read out there. And I've just been having the time of my life with that. And I've made some pretty good friends there. So, don't be scared to make friendships, no matter how old you are, in common interest groups. Okay. It doesn't have to do anything with the business. You can go into book clubs. You can go into, I don't know, dog walking or moms of sunrise. I don't know, whatever it is, whatever interest group you have, like you can join and make friends. Okay. Or have like acquaintances and then that will eventually you can prospect. Okay.
Little side note before we go on to the next one. If you do have a lot of comments during the day that you have replied to some of them, and obviously you get to the night, you got stuff to do with the family, a little ninja tip that I've learned, especially on Reels, Facebook, and Instagram, but it also works on TikTok because it's algorithm wise. You comment the next day, make sure you're going to be there for a while though, and you boost the algorithm. So the algorithm pushes you on top again. It starts showing you and your content, whatever you had, you post, starts going back out. So it helps you to push, a little bit, but don't let it sit too long. So if you do it for about 1-2 days and go back, it'll probably show you to a few people, but not too many because it got flooded already with so much content that it's not going to show you. But if you do it the next day, you're going to see it kind of helps you grow also your engagement, your views, and probably even, the high percentage to close somebody that was already commenting in there because they show you more. But yeah, that's a little side note there. And that's something that you can do for anything. Reels, Facebook, Instagram, And TikTok, it also works. TikTok is more aggressive.
Yeah.
TikTok gives you your first 26 to 30 hours. They're showing you if you have something good that's going out there, it's going to For You page. After 30 hours, it drops into only your friends page. So only your friends are going to see it. So TikTok is aggressive. If you have something and they're commenting on it, you're going to get tons and tons of comments, shares, and they keep showing you. But after 30 hours, it stays within your friends unless they start sharing it out so more people can see it. Anyway, that's another training. Sorry.
That's a really good tip, y'all. Like I hope you're listening to that one, because yes, that is very true. Omar, your tips are always like golden nuggets. Thank you.
I'm learning. I'm still learning. I'm learning. I'm actually taking notes from you because you brought some fire tonight. I like that CPR. I don't think I've heard it in that way, and especially in the way you put it. I did hear the concept, but the way you brought it, it brings life to it because it's a CPR. So
Thank you. Appreciate that. I see Rosanna also like holding up her notes. Thank you. I have my notes too. So I come to everything I have like 2 sets of notes actually. Like I have like a lot of stuff. But that being said, I was going to tell you just one more thing, guys, because I just realized it's 9:58. I don't know where the time went. But I will tell you one more thing, especially in this whole world of social media. Don't rely on vanity metrics. Vanity metrics is how many likes you get, how many views you get. Okay. Like, of course, you want comments, you want views. Yes, but do not obsess with them. All right. Not every reel. I had one reel get like thousands of views, and the next day I got like 200 views. That's fine. 200 people were still able to see that reel. Okay. That's fine. I'm not going to emotionally obsess with that, because it's not exactly the best measure of how you're doing. Believe me, the best measure is how many actual interactions are you having with people that you can put them into the funnel to be able to eventually get them to an event. Remember, you want to meet people, you want to create a relationship, have like a conversation going, ask a question, either send a tool or resource, and then get them to an event, get them to a meeting, get them to a one-on-one, get them to a coffee date. I don't know, whatever it is. The meeting before this, we were also talking about social media, and they were like, think about it like dating. Okay. So there, of course, there's a lot of potential online for dating. I mean, Elias and I met in person in Atlanta, but we connected through Instagram, so how would you treat, the people? Hopefully I don't have anyone here who's kind of like weird about dating online, like I met a lot of people who have found their spouse online, like through dating sites, so like if you're try not to be a creep when you're dating, like online, like stalking the person and be like, yo, you have beautiful eyes. Let's go hang. Like I got weird messages when I was single, and I was like, nah, dude, this is creepy. So that's the same with prospecting. Don't be creepy. Okay. Think of it like that. Sometimes people get really weird. All right. It gets weird real fast. But other than that, just don't obsess with vanity metrics. Okay. It's not a good measure of how you're doing. And a lot of people get emotionally invested to the fact that, oh my God, I need to have like so many likes. I need to have so many views, so much so that Instagram give you an option to take away number of likes because it was affecting people's mental health. Okay.
Addictive.
Yeah, it's addictive.
And
so
another side note too, I'm sorry, Cindy, to cut you, but it's really important. Guys who are here, I found it more helpful to say anytime you're going to prospect, my wife and I are actually looking for people like you. Why? Because out of the 10,000 shares I have and people commenting, 80-90% are women. So mostly you're going to prospect women because women are crushing network marketing. So when you're going to prospect women, make sure you include your girlfriend, your wifey in there, because it relieves more the tension, and they actually give you more, okay, let's chat. Because if you just say, hey, I'm actually looking for, some people like, especially if you can't read tonality because you're reading something, you're like blocked, so very important. Just want to mention that because at the beginning, I was just using myself, and I noticed I had so much responses, so much more response when I started saying my wife and I. So just a little side note.
Yeah, no, that's a really good point. Elias does the same, actually. Because yes, people can get the wrong idea really fast. You know, you can't read tonality, and just the world is kind of crazy sometimes. So yeah, that's a really good tip. Thank you, Omar. But that's basically what I wanted to share tonight, y'all. If you have any questions, feel free to send us a message. You know, we have the chat, we have our training sessions. So whatever questions we can answer for y'all, it is a pleasure to answer anything. We can also mention husband. Yeah, I do. I always mention my husband for everything. Oh, yes, I do. You know, especially if I'm talking to like a guy. And, you know, it's not because of anything bad. It's just two things. You're protecting yourself. You're telling a person, hey, I'm not interested in you. I have a partner. And two, you're also like letting them drop their guard a little bit. Like you also need to protect yourself. I took a real estate course this weekend, and realtors have to be real careful with that kind of stuff. You would think, oh, it really doesn't matter, but it does, especially for safety reasons. Like I would never go to someone's house to do a presentation by myself, but that's like a whole nother topic, y'all. But being safe online is a big thing too. Okay. So, you know, that's why I put my husband all over my Instagram. Okay. I'm not alone. But yeah, you know, put a cat or something. I don't know. Just say like my cat and I will go. It's like, she's crazy. That was just a tangent. It's really late. I've had a really long day, so I'm a little wired. But I hope this was helpful. Take the good parts, not the dumb parts that I just said, and love you all.
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you so much, Cindy. Let's light up that screen for Cindy, because she is always bringing that fire. Thank you. Thank you so much. A lot of golden nuggets, a lot to implement. Remember to give life to your business by giving it CPR.